What's up, everyone? Today we're going to talk about injuries in lifting. I'm going to go over some common things that are seen in lifters, recreational athletes, bodybuilders, powerlifters, and such. Am I a doctor? Am I an expert at healing injuries? No. I'm kind of going to help make many of you guys understand what the injuries might be, what they might be caused from, but more so where to go to get help to fix the injuries, because that tends to be the biggest misconception, where people might get a muscle pull and what they do is they go to their doctor. Not necessarily the greatest thing to do. Not that the doctors don't have their good intentions, but most of the time your doctor is going to give you a muscle relaxer and some prescription NSAIDs, ibuprofen, and then send you on your way. And that's fine and all for basic treatment and beginning of a serious muscle pull. But what you're really after is to find out why it happened and prevent it from happening again, okay? So some of the common injuries, muscle imbalances. Usually muscle imbalances are usually what cause most of muscle pulls, strains, sometimes tears, and sometimes they can actually usually contribute to overuse injuries in the tendons and such. So when things aren't working properly within the joint, you get a lot of wear and tear more on one side than the other, and it can lead to overuse and so forth. So muscle imbalance is usually the number one thing that many people overlook. They don't usually do exercises that are deemed, say, functional, or look at their body, get somebody diagnosed some of their issues of where their tight muscles are in their hips or the shoulders, and develop a routine to prevent those muscle imbalances from being worsened. You're never going to stop those muscle imbalances. You're genetically prone to specific muscle imbalances more than others. And what I mean by that is some people who have a very anterior tilt to their pelvis or posterior tilt, or their shoulders are very protracted, or they have very tight lats and the forward head. These are all types of muscle imbalances that can decrease performance, decrease function in a joint, and eventually lead to injury. Muscle imbalances, for those of you who are listening who haven't been injured yet in the gym, that day is coming, I promise. So I would first start with addressing muscle imbalances in your body and finding an individual, possibly a physical therapist or an ART person, or any type of individual who's very knowledgeable in the area with those types of injuries, muscle injuries. They can help you get a plan going together to help alleviate that. Squat University on YouTube is another great resource. If you're home, budget's tight, and you don't have time to go out or money to spend, they diagnose a lot of common issues in certain lifts, squats, overhead movements, and things like that, and implement exercises and stretches to help you combat that. All right, muscle balance is a big one. So guys, when you get muscle injuries, muscle pull, muscle strain is honestly usually a tear in the muscle, and there's different levels of strains until there's a full rupture. So it's very important that you understand your injury. Overuse injuries in tendons most commonly are your lateral epicondylitis and the medial epicondylitis. You get inflammation in there. That's the most common everybody complains about. And unfortunately, going to your doctor, they're usually going to say rest, and they're going to say drugs. And sometimes that's the first protocol in some cases, but honestly, you got to prevent it from happening and find out why. That physical therapist can help you do that. The athletic trainer can help you do that. Usually overuse injuries in the bicep area of the forearm, the lateral and the medial epicondyles are usually from sometimes the tight shoulder, not allowing proper rotation, so the muscles get all beat up. But in most cases, these muscles are too weak for how much weight you are rowing or curling. So you get damage to the tendon because the muscles aren't strong enough to take that grunt. So implementing forearm exercises and stuff like that to rehabilitate you, and then eventually strengthen the extensors and the flexors of the forearm to prevent that from occurring. And of course, addressing any muscle imbalance in the shoulder that might be contributing to lack of external rotation of the wrist that might lead to the muscle, these guys all messed up. You have tendon rupture, muscle injuries and strains. In most cases, obviously tendon rupture, the first person you want to go to see your doctor. No question about it. Because no physical therapist is going to be able to help you rupture tendon. You're going to need a doctor who's going to refer you, and then you're going to go to a specialist, and they're going to have to do surgery and reattach that tendon, okay? Muscle tears, like a big muscle tear, you're gonna want to see your doctor. He'll probably write, a script for a CPT. If it's a minor strain, if it's a serious strain, you have to see what the other options are. What the doctor lays out for you. That's important. Overuse injuries and tendons, like I said, most of the time people go to the doctor. But if they are minor tendonitis, in the forearms, and it's nothing major, usually you go to your doctor if the doctor sends you to a physical therapist to help do it, or they just give you drugs, which is not, in my opinion, the way to go. NSAIDs, if many of you guys read about them, they do make you feel better. They definitely reduce inflammation, but in some studies they've shown to slow the healing process. So they're not something that you want to rely on just to keep training and ignoring it, all right? Physical therapists, now guys, just like doctors and physical therapists, or any field, there are really good ones and there's some average ones. I'm not talking bad against the field at all. I'm just letting you know that you really want to try to find a very good physical therapist that's really knowledgeable in sports related injuries. If you find them, I would find them first, and then when you go to your doctor, ask your doctor to write a script to them so the insurance can cover that physical therapist for your injury and you can get back. I've personally paid out of pocket for a few physical therapists. Some of them didn't work out really well at all, and then another physical therapist I went to, boom, 2 sessions, instantaneously better. He gave me exercises and things to do at home, which helped me correct the issue that was occurring, and I was able to fix the problem, okay? That is really the name of the game. You can't say that one doctor's bad. They just don't have the knowledge and experience that you might need for a weightlifting injury. So find your good physical therapists. Athletic trainer the same way. Usually they're on sports teams, but sometimes they might operate out of a private business where you can see them, and again, they're very good at sports-related injuries. But guys, we need sports-related injuries. Most of the time, I hate to say it, some docs, some, not all, just, they don't have the time and the knowledge to say, hey, you need to do 10 sets of plantar flexion when you get up in the morning, and then do this adductor stretch and do that. That's more your physical therapist. And most of the time they'll say rest, which rest in most cases will make it go away, and Advil will make you feel better, which you love because you feel better, but most of you guys aren't going to rest. You're just going to work through it, which you don't want to do. So once you have your injury and it's something serious, you have your 3 people that you can reference. Once you have these people for reference, these people will help you diagnose what's wrong with it, okay? And always sometimes get a figure 2, maybe 2 opinions sometimes if you have an injury. I'm trying to say this, guys, to you where some injuries are very basic, very simple. This is lateral epicondylitis, which is tendonitis of this tendon here. Obviously, that's easy. If you have a major shoulder issue and the doc really can't figure it out, obviously then you might want to see somebody else to help you get a fundamental reason of what's going on in that shoulder. The diagnosis is important because then that's going to help you determine what you need to strengthen, what you need to stretch, what you need to work on, and what type of corrective exercise you need to do for that movement. Mobility work, stretching, corrective exercises are so important, okay? And rest sometimes is needed with an injury. Some people, you got to work through injuries. Never work through an injury. I recently had a conversation the other day that injured their hamstring, and they said ever since they injured their hamstring, they have hip shift in a squat. Well, if you hip shift in a squat repetitively over time, eventually that's going to lead to another catastrophic injury. So it's very important that whatever injury you have, you make sure that you're not compensating too much because now you're going to hurt something else. I've been there, done that. IT band turned into my IT band injury turned into a big hip shift, which turned into a hamstring tear, which turned into messed up left knee, and then now I'm crooked. All right, my own fault, my own lack of knowledge. But you can't waste your time on doing exercises like this. And that's one thing a lot of you guys can learn from powerlifters. The muscle doc, Jordan Shallow, and other people just like him, is they share a lot of knowledge on corrective exercises and understanding the proper mechanics of a movement, because if you don't have those proper mechanics of movement, you don't address the issues that are causing the weak link in your movement, injury is going to occur, one, and two, you're not going to be able to really push and advance in that movement with strength and size. It's all, I know they're a pain in the ass, they're boring to do these weird exercises where you're on the floor doing that stuff, but you know what, they work. And the people who constantly make big jumps in their lifts, specifically powerlifters, they do them, okay? Cars, controlled articular rotations. That's something to look into. If you guys go on YouTube and you look up shoulder cars or hip cars, I've had a lot of clients do have very good luck with that. When they had to say their shoulders bothering them, it's not bothering them enough where they're going to go see a doctor or go see a physical therapist, but it's been some of those things where the shoulder's just not working right. And sometimes I don't know what's going on either. I'm not a specialist, and physical therapists at that point might not know what's going on, besides, you know, being a bodybuilder, having overdeveloped muscles, which can lead to dysfunction of the joint. Controlled articular rotations can help. And those, as silly as these movements are, they show you in these videos, they're extremely helpful, but there's cars for every joint. And foam rolling. Just note, I just want to note real quick, foam rolling and massage, they are passive forms of manipulation, meaning they're going to give you kind of temporary relief. It's not something that's necessarily going to fix an injury. So, and this perfect example is, say if you're, say if you're like, oh man, my hip flexor, my right side's constantly so tight. It's just so damn tight. And then you foam roll it or you get a massage and you're like, oh, it feels wonderful for like 24 hours, 48 hours. And then you go train and it's, oh man, it's all tight again. Well, there's obviously an issue there. There's some sort of muscle imbalance or issue that's causing that one side to overwork and be more overactive than it's supposed to. So the only way to really address that and fix that problem is to find out why that's occurring, okay? And why that's occurring is going to be a physical therapist, a good one, who's really good in understanding all that muscle imbalance stuff, okay? And listen, if you go to a physical therapist and they don't give you a bunch of exercises to bring home, don't go to that one, okay? Back to the foam rolling massage. So guys, don't think foam rolling massage is the only way to do treatment and keep it away, and don't think that's going to fix your problem. Like I said, it's passive manipulation. You're going to want to do the corrective exercise. You're going to want to do the cars. You're going to want to do mobility training, and those are really important. Stretching is good, you know, but stretching is not nearly as good as it's another form of almost passive manipulation. Yes, stretching can be very helpful, can be useful, but stretching a tight muscle over and over again, sometimes you overstretch it, it's going to get tighter, but it's not going to fix the problem. The problem is going to be muscle imbalances, corrective exercise, and that's how you guys kind of run it down. So I really hope this helps. A lot of my clients will come to me and they have injuries, and you know, they've seen 3 doctors or whatever, and they still haven't figured it out. And then, you know, you get them to do a type of mobility training work, which is so simple, and you have physical therapists design that for them, and boom, 2 weeks, they're like, I feel so much better. But guys, you can fix the vast majority of injuries. Just know that in some injuries, like if you have a full rupture, you know, of a pec or a full rupture of a hamstring, there's going to be, at some point, sometimes it may not ever be full strength, where you're really going to be able to explode in a sprint and not have to worry about the hamstring or really explode in a bench press. There's been many people who come back after pec tears and hamstrings and they perform fine. And there's people that get an injury and they just give up. You definitely don't want to give up. You definitely have to be proactive when you have an injury and get right on the path of recovery, and that's active recovery. Don't go home, sulk, be sad, and give up and just take Advil and sit on the couch. It's not the fastest way to come back, okay? So listen, I hope this helped. Again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physical therapist, I'm not an athletic trainer, but this is kind of knowledge I've gained over the years, seeing all the doctors and physical therapists and everybody who's helped me overcome my injuries. And if you guys want to know my injuries, they are left pec tear, left tricep tear, left hamstring tear, left knee chondromalacia. I've had lateral medial epicondylitis at least 50 times. One time I had it for 15 months straight. Couldn't even open my hand to grab a bag of groceries, it was so bad. Lower back issues, sciatic issues. So I've had my share rung. Doesn't make me expert, but it does give me some knowledge to help you guys point in the right direction of where to go. But one thing for sure in closing, do not work through pain. Pain is telling you to stop. You know, Toughing out pain in a specific, exercise where it's grueling and it's painful, yeah. But if you have a certain area that's causing you pain from an injury, you're never going to allow the injury to heal. And if you keep going, eventually it's going to lead to more catastrophic injury. I hope this helps. If you guys have any questions, please comment.